My name is Michael Trapchek, and I'm here today to help answer any general or technical questions that you might have. But before we get started, I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, 5 Quick Wins to Modernize Visual Experiences in SAP Commerce Cloud. Here's today's timing breakdown. These numbers are just rough, so don't hold us to these. At any point during today's webinar, if you have a question, please don't hesitate to submit those using the Q&A tab on the right side of your screen. You can also chat with your fellow attendees by clicking the public chat that is also on the right side of your screen. Here's a little bit about us here at CMS Wire. We were founded in 2003 and cover the primary topics that you see here on this slide. You can read all our great content and register for upcoming webinars, all by visiting www.cmswire.com. Okay, I want to thank today's sponsor, Cloudinary, for making today's webinar possible. Cloudinary is the image and video technology platform that enables the world's most engaging brands to deliver transformative visual experiences at a global scale. More than 1.5 million users and 10,000 customers, including Apartment Therapy, Bleacher Report, Bombas, Grubhub, NBC, Mediavine, Minted, Paul Smith, and Peloton rely on Cloudinary to bring their campaigns and apps and sites to life. With the world's most powerful image and video APIs backed by industry-leading artificial intelligence and patented technology, Cloudinary offers a single source of truth for brands to manage, transform, optimize, and deliver visual experiences at scale. You can learn more at www.cloudinary.com. And with no further ado, I'll hand it over to you, Bridget.
All right, welcome everyone. We are so happy to have you here today. We are going to be talking about 5 quick wins to modernize your visual experiences in SAP Commerce Cloud. And I've got a couple of colleagues here today. So I'm Bridget Roman. I am a Director of Product Marketing at Cloudinary. And my colleague Greg Panay is here as well. He is a Senior Solutions Engineer, also from Cloudinary. And then we're really happy to co-present with one of our closest solution integrator partners, Oktay Zorlu, who is a Senior Solution Architect specializing in SAP. We're thrilled to be able to take you through not only the 5 quick wins, but we're going to show you an integration demo as well a little later on in the presentation. So Greg, I know you're gonna drive the slides for me for a little while, so let's move forward. The next thing I really want to talk about is setting the context. And when we think about SAP and kind of the decoupling of both technologies and pricing that's been going on, it's really important to start considering composable architecture. And at Cloudinary, we really take a look at the market. We're really observing what's happening from industry analysts to big brands that are already our customers. We look at our ISV partners and our solution integrator partners and keep pace on what's happening with composable architecture in the market. And obviously, over the past 18 months, we've just seen an explosion around the number of brands who are transitioning to composable. And there's such a great opportunity right now. If you're on SAP CX, Commerce Cloud, and this notion of being able to now bring in composable solutions and going out and picking best of breed content management systems, DAMs, PIMs, and a solution like Cloudinary, which is an image and video platform, you now have that opportunity to create a tech stack filled with your best of breed capabilities while retaining that powerful commerce solution from SAP that you've invested your time and money in. So we're going to get into all the ways you can get amazing visual experiences without having to re-platform your commerce solution. And I wanted to share just 3 examples. As we go through, we're going to share more customer examples and successes of brands that Cloudinary works with that have seen amazing success. So you can see here, Neiman Marcus, beautiful luxury brand. They have moved to composable. They're using Cloudinary. They've reduced their time to get from photo shoot to web from 4 weeks down to 2 weeks. So huge benefit in time to market there. We work with Mecum Auctions. They've reduced their resourcing, their dev hours by 2,000 hours by just purely bringing in automation around their image creation and delivery. Greg's going to get into some of that in a little bit. And then lastly, River Island, another amazing brand in Europe where they've been able to make their performance on their web pages so much faster through automating the way that they're treating their images and videos and really reducing file size to make their experiences so much more performant. So next, we're going to talk a little bit about why this matters. So why are we even here today? And I'm probably telling you something you already know, but let's just look at some numbers here. So we know that the demands for visual assets are off the charts. Consumers' expectations are incredibly high. These are really important things to think about with your commerce experiences. So 89% of buyers basically say that they purchase after watching video. So you have to ask yourself, are you integrating enough video into your experiences? We're going to talk about that today. 90% of buyers consider the product visuals the number one most important factor. Are your visuals stunning? Are they fast? Are they performant? We're going to talk about that as well. Customers expect a minimum of 6 photos and 2 videos on their product listings. And then buyers also are looking to see more innovative visual experiences, whether it's 3D or other types of AR, but 95% of buyers really want to see these realistic experiences, which helps actually reduce product returns as well. So something to think about when it comes to commercial ROI. Okay, so why does this matter? Why are we, talking about mastering visual assets? It can be really challenging to scale your visual media. It can be very difficult, but it's critical because consumer expectations around availability, performance, load time, high fidelity are increasing. I just showed on the prior slide how high those expectations are. This is evolving as well. Everything is moving, of course, at a breakneck pace around innovation. There are constantly new formats, new technologies. So if you're using your own homegrown solution or some other solution that is not keeping pace with innovation, you will start to fall behind from a customer experience standpoint. Unstructured. So unlike other data sources, images and videos are unstructured. They have to be tagged and enriched with metadata to be useful at scale. So that's something to also consider. And finally, simply, images and videos can be very heavy. So there has to be a way to compress and deliver these at a much lighter weight. So we're going to get into some of that as well today. And then wanted to just share how Cloudinary can actually help assist with all of these things. We are an image and video platform. We are API first. We're powered by traditional AI, generative AI. We are composable. So when you think about Cloudinary, it's really a single source of truth for your images and videos. We know they're scattered throughout your organization. This is very common across all brands that we work with. There are images and videos everywhere. Cloudinary is that solution to bring them all under one roof. And that will help actually connect all of your teams and all of your systems, your marketing folks, your designers, your commerce people, your developers. Cloudinary can be that unifying force to help you transform your assets at scale and deliver them out to your whole omnichannel commerce experience, regardless of the touch point, helping to make those experiences really sing and help you become amazing storytellers. So we'll talk a little more about Cloudinary at the end, but I just wanted to set context about who we are and our ability to tell this story to you around these 5 key wins around images and videos. All right, so we're in good company here. I just wanted to share, this is just a handful of our SAP CX customers who are using Cloudinary. There are a few brands that unfortunately we don't have permission to show on a slide, but this gives you a sense, we are in the consumer packaged goods, sports, grocery, all sorts of different verticals that we support. But here specifically, we've got a lot of great customers who are also using SAP Commerce. And then let's dive in. Let's talk about these 5 quick wins before I hand off to Greg, who's going to dive in. The first quick win around modernizing your visual experiences is to automate. So how are we going to automate your images and videos to help you achieve scale? We'll show you the quick ways to do this. And I think you're going to get a lot out of that section. All right. And the second quick win is a really important one to help you be able to do more with less. So with Cloudinary, you can actually take one master file, whether it's an image or a video, and create an endless number of variations that you can use on all of your customer touch points. So that's a really critical one. All right. And the third quick win is using generative AI to save you hours upon hours of developer time. And we've got some amazing Gen AI features that apply to images. And I think you'll get a lot out of that. It's really kind of fun and exciting. And then the fourth quick win is all around normalization. So whether you are taking in assets from a third party that you need to normalize for your commerce experiences, or perhaps you're delivering assets to another marketplace, we're going to show you how easy it is to normalize those assets fast and easy. And then the last one is all around video. You saw on a prior slide, customers expect 2 videos for every product listing. So are you doing that? Are you delivering that? So we're going to talk about creating and scaling your video experiences. So Greg, handing it over to you. Thank you so much.
I will move to the first of those use cases. So first use case is around automation at scale. And specifically, what we see is that the number of media files, think images and video, is always ever growing, right? And it's moving very, very fast. So it's very difficult to manage that manually. And one of the elements as well is that those images and video tend to be more, their quality and the resolution that is expected by consumer tends to be growing. But then it becomes really, really difficult to both, let's say, find the balance between delivering a good, fast experience on a website or on a mobile app, but at the same time maintain very high quality of the images and video. So brands do invest, of course, heavily in shooting great imagery and great video. You want to have the great experience also delivered to the consumers. So what Cloudinary provides as let's say, a set of features is around here optimization. So the way we do that is that we are able to use, let's say, we call that auto everything. So essentially, it's a set of instructions that are applied to your images and your video that will, depending on the type of device, the network, or the quality of the network you are using, and also the way you want to, the level of quality you want to deliver to your consumer, well, Cloudinary will be able to adjust the format of the file. So think that an image would be delivered, for example, in the best format possible to Chrome, Safari, or some other browser. And depending on the version, this can vary a lot. And it will be the same for video. So for video, it would be typically the best codec and the best format for the video, depending again on the platform that is being used. So again, in the same way for mobile apps. So that's for the first part, essentially very high quality at high scale, but maintaining very, very fast media. So what we observe in the market is that it is not so difficult to have very, very light imagery and light video. What's very hard is actually to maintain very high quality. Okay, so that's where Cloudinary would shine and why so many brands are using our technology. The second use case is around automation, really, and automation, I would say more, how do we automate the way we use or we repurpose, let's say, the content that you have created. So we talk about here composition. That's one of the things. And typically, if you have existing imagery and you need to adjust it to different channels or different use cases, the way it would work usually is that you would have designers using creative tools such as Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, or maybe video editing solution, and manually they would edit every asset so that they match the right format, the right channel, etc. So this is, great. Of course, the result is amazing, but the issue is scale. That the cost and the scale is very hard to reach when you do everything manually. With Cloudinary, you are able to apply a set of predefined instructions to your assets and generate those predefined formats at any scale in real time on the fly. So you have examples here, for example, of promotional banners for a grocery retailer. And those banners are typically, there are hundreds of promotional banners that are being created every week. If you have to do that manually, you need to plan 2 months before, send that to an agency, review the content, etc. With Cloudinary, what you can do is that you can templatize those transformations, and then at the moment, you don't have really to wait or plan. You can plan much shorter, of course, life cycles for your promotion, and it will generate, the banners will be generated on the fly, okay? So this is using a set of functionality that are, resizing, cropping, overlay, creating layers that you can compose together, composing multiple images together, overlaying text, so also the ability to localize the text that you will display on your images and video. And you can see also at the top that we have object detection that allows us to identify within an image or a video where certain objects or subjects or parts of the body, for example, are, which allow us to, let's say, generate at scale, typically cut images and video without losing the interesting subjects. Okay, so actually this is a detailed view of some of the smart cropping functionality we have. So this is for imagery, where you can, the images are being analyzed at the moment they are uploaded in Cloudinary, and we're able to identify certain objects. We have libraries for fashion, libraries for, let's say, generic objects or for parts of the body, which allow you to essentially create at scale those images. And it doesn't matter where the subject is, Cloudinary will find it. Another element of object detection is, of course, the ability to identify where the object is. And you can see on the right side, you see the boundary boxes of the objects that are being recognized. So it's a visual representation of what Cloudinary sees internally. You also see on the left side on the image the faces. So by default, Cloudinary will identify every face that is in an image, and which allows you also to do some classification. So object detection is used to crop in a smart way images and video, but also to classify your assets. So if you have a lot of images, you don't know what's in there, our AI capabilities are also able to identify the content of the images and the video and create tags that make them searchable within the platform. Number 3 is around GenAI. And of course, GenAI is in the process of revolutionizing every part, of course, of our lives. And of course, image and video is no different. It's coming, it's going to change. And here I'm going to show you some of the things we are doing in GenAI space. So the first one, which is actually very useful already, pretty mature, is the ability to outpaint images. So think about an image, for example, a product image, that if you want to have a square and it's a vertical rectangle, actually sometimes you can't really cut it, you can't crop it, because you would lose the product, or you would lose part of the subject if you were to cut the original image. So you need to pad more background on the sides. But the issue you have is that the background does not exist. You need to generate it. So what generative fill is doing is it has the ability to outpaint the missing content you have in the image. And then essentially you can repurpose an existing image in any file aspect ratio in that case. Okay, and you can choose where the original image should sit, on the right, in the middle, on the left, etc. Another use case is generative removal. So think about, let's say, a generic shooting happens, I don't know, on the street, and you have a lot of objects, I don't know, building, cars, buses, maybe more people. You have the ability here using prompting. So in the same way you would see with ChatGPT or other generative AI, you can actually identify objects, and Gen Remove will be able to remove it, actually to generate an image without the subjects that you have asked to remove. Another use case is here, another feature in the platform is AI vision. So this is a pretty interesting feature which allows you to essentially ask questions about your images. So you can ask open questions, please describe that image, but also you can ask a set of questions that are predefined and that will provide you predefined answers. So typical use case we see is that, you know, you have a very large set of product images and you don't really know what type of shot it is. Is it the front? Is it the back? Is it the bottom, the sole of a pair of shoes? And you can't have, you know, people review hundreds of thousands of images to reclassify them. So what you can do with this service is actually ask those questions, and it will tell you exactly, you know, if there is a model, if it's a man, a woman, a kid, if it's front facing, back facing, if it's standing in full, or if it's being, you know, partially displayed on the image, etc. So very, very powerful, and I think we are still discovering all the use cases that can be derived from this feature set. The next one is restore. So not all images that is being used is super high quality coming from a photo shoot. Sometimes you have old imagery, or you have imagery that comes from third party and that you don't want to reject. And actually with GenAI now, you have the ability to restore images. So essentially reproduce or generate more pixels than you had at the beginning, and to clean up an image so that it's let's say at the standard that you expect to display on your digital properties. The next one we talked about before is background removal. Here it's really around object detection and having the ability to remove backgrounds. So this is not new, but it's been, background removal has been around for a long time, but it's usually manual. So you have an agency, a designer, taking an image with Photoshop and then removing the background. So of course, the result is amazing, but it takes, minutes, hours, and costs a lot of money. Here you can do it on the fly, it's an instruction, and you can apply it to any number of images. All right, so moving to the next use case. Here, this is not only does Cloudinary store your images and video and has the ability to transform them and deliver them to your digital properties, your consumers, your customers, and the different channels that you need to feed. So think also social media and marketing channels. But also, these images and these videos, they need to come into they need to arrive in the company. And sometimes you didn't shoot them yourself. They come from suppliers, they come from marketplace sellers, and those were not necessarily created for you. So if you are a distributor, a marketplace, you will receive the same images as all your competitors, and maybe they don't follow your guidelines. So usually there are a set of, let's say, activities that need to take place where you need to analyze the images, you need to reject or accept them, they need to be in the right format, they need to be reworked so that they match, let's say, your requirements. So this is an example of a workflow or the type of feature you would see in an import or an upload workflow for a marketplace, distributor, or user-generated content use case. But what we see that very often is, for example, for product imagery, if you take a grocery retailer, they would receive imagery from their supplier. And most of the suppliers, they just send what they have, right? They don't have the ability to do to transform the images or to rework the images for each of the channels that they need to feed. So as a distributor, what you need to do is take all of these images, and sometimes they are square, rectangle, they have a background or not, they are large, they are small, they have different formats, and you need to normalize them. So they are all look the same, the product is in the same place, maybe you have a transparent background, and then they are usable to be displayed on your website, on your mobile apps, etc. So it's very, very common to see marketplaces and distributors use Cloudinary to manage that at scale without any manual intervention. Another element, of course, I just talked about that is moderation. So moderating a lot of content at scale is not really a good thing to do manually, right? It is very time consuming, it's very expensive. So what Cloudinary can do is actually do automatic moderation. So using AI-driven services, we are able to analyze the content of images and determine whether it follows your guideline, right? So is it offensive content? Are there certain objects or subjects that you don't want to see? And they would be classified or even rejected automatically. And you can combine it, of course, as well with escalation to manual approval. So that, quick number 5 is around the management of video. So it's our last use case. We talked about that earlier. Actually, video is really, really hard because it's very heavy. It's pretty expensive to produce. And it's very hard to deliver and to manage, right? Moving a video file from one place to the other is terrible. Delivering it in the right way is terrible as well. But the video is very, very powerful in a way that it has very good ROI, right? So commercial ROI in a way that it would typically increase audience engagement or boost conversion for an e-commerce website. So we see a lot of customers moving to video or increasing video, and they want to do that at scale. But also what customers want to do is that they want to achieve it with, let's say, the minimum of manual intervention, because video can be expensive to run, right? So if you don't automate your video management, it becomes complicated. So where Cloudinary helps is essentially by providing very fast time to market, reducing the cost and the returns, and essentially by doing automation of the video processing. So very common use cases we see with our customers and where video, let's say, would shine when it comes to video is product and editorial, what we call shorts. So product video that you see on product detail pages and product list pages on e-commerce websites. User-generated video. So think of, for example, on a marketplace, you can upload a video that you took yourself, a product, and you need all infrastructure to be able to upload, manage, moderate, transform, display, and optimize to this type of video. In the same way, if it's a partner supplied video, you need a specific infrastructure to manage all of that. And the last part is around, it's longer form video, but the lifestyle video or explainers or on-demand video are also a space that we see developing very well. So where Cloudinary helps is essentially on the full life cycle of the video, where we are able to manage, repurpose, customize, optimize, and deliver the video at high scale with automation and in an API first, let's say, manner. So just focus on one functionality of the Cloudinary video platform, which is again around smart cropping. So I think you have most of the video are shot in a desktop format, so an horizontal rectangle. But if you need to display them on a mobile and have a good experience, typically you would need them to be vertical or maybe a square. And typically, if you want that, you need to have a video editor take your original video and then crop it manually. With Cloudinary, you can do it automatically because we are able to detect the objects, either the most interesting part of the video automatically, or you can specify which objects or subjects you want us to follow. And this is it with the presentation of the different quick wins with Cloudinary. And I will hand over the presentation to Oktay for a demonstration of the integration of Cloudinary with SAP Commerce Cloud.
Thank you, Greg. That was really interesting. In this part of the session, we're going to provide a short demo on the SAP Commerce and how you connect Cloudinary to SAP Commerce, but more how you configure all these features and surface these features within SAP Commerce. So we're looking at the configurability of Cloudinary. So we'll be looking at the back office, which you'll be very familiar with. We're going to go over some of the key areas which you can configure within SAP Commerce. So we're going to be looking at the Cloudinary configuration item, the media asset synchronization, media upload, product gallery and video components, transformation and optimizations, and breakpoint responsive breakpoints. So now that the connector has been implemented, you should have an option on the left-hand side in your back office called Cloudinary configuration. And you will have one item in this area which contains all the configuration to surface features of Cloudinary. So if we open up this item, we'll see the items that you need to configure. So in the first tab, we have the Cloudinary configuration, and in there we have some of the main attributes to connect to your instance or your account of Cloudinary, which is it's the connection string, and also the Cloudinary folder path, which specifies the directory within Cloudinary where you want to store your assets. And you also have the ability to be able to enable and disable Cloudinary. Now, these are the basic, most core attributes that you need to configure to connect to Cloudinary. And it's very straightforward. And once you've set these three configurations up, you're essentially connected to Cloudinary, and your assets are being served from the CDN, which Cloudinary provide. Now, you can always disable Cloudinary from here as well. This will disable the features within Cloudinary, but your assets will continue to be served from the CDN. So let's go through how you might set up Cloudinary if you are adopting it for the first time, and then a few of the actions that you might need to take. So once you've done the basic setup, which we've just gone through, you'd want to synchronize your assets, all your images, your videos, and other assets that you have in SAP Commerce into Cloudinary. And there's really two approaches to doing this. There's a dynamic approach whereby assets will get uploaded automatically into Cloudinary as and when you browse the site. So when you browse the site, if the asset's not in Cloudinary, it will retrieve it from SAP Commerce and store it in Cloudinary and be served from CDN thereafter. The other approach is to run a cron job, which is pre-installed with the plugin, with the connector. And running this cron job will synchronize everything in bulk from SAP Commerce into Cloudinary. Now, this cron job might take a bit longer than usual on the first run, because if you have a large set of data and videos, as you can expect, this might take a little bit longer. But any subsequent run should be much faster, because it will be doing a delta upload. In terms, once all your data has been synchronized to Cloudinary, you would like to update and manage or create new items within Cloudinary. So whether you're creating or updating a product, or you have an out-of-the-box flow now within the back office, where within the back office you can actually connect to Cloudinary and select media items and assets for your product. So in this example here, we're going to go to a product. We're going to open up a media item. And with the help of the connector now, we can connect directly and select an asset from the Cloudinary library without leaving the back office. This provides a seamless flow, whereas before you might need to leave and go to another tab. Everything is handled within the back office, and you can update images, you can create new products, and connect directly to the Cloudinary media content. Another feature that can be managed within SAP Commerce is the product gallery. So if we go to the Cloudinary configuration item, we have a tab called product gallery, and this defines the presentation of the product gallery on the product details page. In here we have a link to the product gallery editor, which opens up a number of options for your product gallery. So in this section here, we can see we have a classic view, we have a 1-column expanded view, and a 2-column expanded view. Now, if you go to the coding tab, you can copy the code in this section and apply it directly within the back office. This allows you to change the product gallery on your website dynamically at runtime without having to do a deployment. And you can change the product gallery for all the product detail pages on your site. We also have the same feature for the video component as well. So with the connector, you get a video component within your WCMS. And the video component also has a video player studio where you can select different presentations of your video. And again, using the same method, you can copy the code into the back office, and all videos that are displayed on your site will, within the video component, will be presented in a common format that you've selected in this section. Now, we've talked about uploading data from SAP Commerce into Cloudinary, but there's also features within the connector to upload data from Cloudinary into SAP Commerce. And with the connector, you have two features in which you can achieve this. One of these features is an API which we have exposed, and using an external application, you could publish data from Cloudinary into SAP Commerce. There's also a hot folder implementation, which is a standard feature within SAP Commerce for integrations, whereby you can place a CSV file in a location within SAP Commerce, and that file will be consumed, and all the media assets that have been defined in that file will be created within SAP Commerce. So let's move on to transformation and optimizations, which is another area of configurability within SAP Commerce. So transformations, as Greg has gone into detail on, can be a really powerful tool, and it can be configured at many levels within SAP Commerce. So it can be configured at the product catalog level. It can be configured at the category level, so for all the products within a category. It can also be configured at an individual product or media level. But it can also be defined at a generic level, which applies to all media's assets within a product catalog or a content catalog. And in this demonstration, we'll apply a transformation at the root level, at the configuration level, and we can see how it impacts all the images on the site. So in the configuration item, we've applied we can apply a transformation at this level and negate transformation. And this will apply to all the media assets, the images on the website, and it will invert the background from white to black. So this is just one example. There's many transformations within Cloudinary which you can apply at a product catalog level or at a content level to your images. And each one of these transformations provide some kind of customization to your images and your assets. So the last thing I want to touch on is the responsive breakpoints, which are also configurable within SAP Commerce. So if you want a responsive site, you want your images and your assets to be served at an optimal level based on the screen size. And this section here, you'll be able to configure the minimum and the maximum width of your images and the step size, which is the pixel variations within that range. And using these configurations, you can get the optimal image or assets for your website based on the size of the screen. There are many more configurations within SAP Commerce. These are not all of them, but these are the main areas that we wanted to showcase today. I think that's it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Oktay. What a great overview. Really, really interesting to see back office and how you configure Cloudinary with SAP Commerce. So I appreciate that. It's very detailed and interesting. And to your point, there are other configurations that you didn't even have time to touch on. So that kind of gets everybody's interest piqued probably. And there's more to share if people are interested. So I wanted to just take a minute. We've gone through these 5 tips, and I tried to kind of set some context at the beginning around composability and the shift to composable architecture and the value behind that. And Greg went through the 5 tips. Just like Oktay said, there's more to configure in the tool, but there's so many more capabilities that Cloudinary offers. So what I did want to do, just in case you're not familiar with who we are as a company, just tell you a couple things about us as Cloudinary. So just some high-level information about who we are. Cloudinary was founded in 2012. We are still run by the 3 people who founded the company, which is pretty amazing in the world of tech startups. We've definitely surpassed the startup stage. We have 10,000 customers, over 1,000 enterprise brands and enterprise customers. We are valued at around $2 billion. And so point being, we definitely have a foothold in the marketplace and lots of big brands using Cloudinary. So let me show you a little bit about the regions that we serve. You can look at this next slide and see we have global reach. 55% of our customer base is in North America. We do have almost 30% in EMEA, and then smaller percentages across the globe. But wherever you sit with your organization, your brand, we definitely have the folks to be able to support and help you come on board with Cloudinary. And then the other thing I wanted to share, I did at the beginning give you insight into the brands that are actually using Cloudinary with SAP Commerce. This is a view of the even broader look at the various verticals where we have clients, and then some of the top name clients you can see even in the retail space. We've got Puma and Adidas and Neiman's, which I mentioned earlier on. And just, again, you can kind of see, we certainly have a very, very strong foothold in commerce and retail, but we have amazing customers in lots of other vertical industries out there. So that's really key. And then the last thing I wanted to share, when we think about all those brands, wanted to take a look at some operational and commercial metrics. Greg shared a few, I think specifically in the video quick win category. But again, this notion of, us being able to help brands grow through growing their audience, their engagement, their conversions. So we consider these sort of the commercial metrics and what we can do around increasing those conversions, decreasing product returns because of our great realistic experiences, but then also the efficiency side and what we consider being able to improve your time to market, your cost of returns, the hours saved. We have a lot of customers making huge gains there as well. And up on our website, cloudinary.com, there's a customer tab, and you can see deep dives into lots of different case studies. So I just wanted to share that because we're really excited to be able to support these brands in all of their e-commerce goals and desires. So there's that. And then I think we're pretty much at the end. I just wanted to share our contact information. If anybody would like to reach out to us directly, here are the email addresses for myself, for Greg, for Oktay. So don't hesitate if you've got specific things you want to ask. But I did want to, from here, move on, and I want to thank everybody for being here. We really appreciate it. We hope you got a lot out of the 5 quick wins. There's so many more than that. It was hard to narrow it down, but at least we give you top level 5 key things. If you'd like to talk more about it, again, contact us. But we're going to move into questions and be able to answer any questions or address any comments that you might have. But thank you once again on behalf of my 2 co-presenters. We'd like to thank you for spending the time with us today.
All right, awesome. Thank you for the presentation, everyone. Now let's get into some Q&A. So for the first question we have here from Darcy, how are you defining the single source of truth? Is that from multiple sources?
I can take this one. So if we talk about the, thanks for the question, Darcy. If we talk about the single source of truth for images and video, which is the main subject today, Cloudinary definitely can act as the single source of truth. So there are multiple ways to use Cloudinary, but we can federate images and video that are typically stored in maybe a DAM somewhere or some, a file system or a combination of that and local storage as well, and your local laptop. We typically federate and centralize all of that, and then you can deliver it to SAP Commerce or any other channel that you need to feed with images and video. Does that make sense?
Yep. All right, now let's get into our second question here. This is from Julian. What features in SAP Commerce Cloud support adaptive or responsive design for better visual experiences?
I can try answering that one. So in the demo, we went over one of the key features, which was breakpoints, responsive breakpoints. So SAP Commerce does have a responsive storefront out of the box, but to provide the most optimal image, you can define actually the breakpoints within the size of your image, so you have that low level control within the back office, as we demonstrated, where you can configure the minimum, the maximum, and the steps, and then that using that information, the most optimal images are provided to the website and to the user.
Awesome. And then Oktay, I think I have another one for you, but can you easily can you change that video code easily as well? That was another question we had coming in from Jeff.
Yeah, thanks for that question. Yes, you can play around with the code in the editor and see how it's reflected on your site. But I think that's a starting point. But what you would typically do is take that and, of course, test that on a lower environment, on your QA environment, just to make sure that it behaves in the way you want. Just taking code, obviously, and put it onto production, there might be some other code on production which might impact that. So it's always a best practice to configure it first in the editor where you can change it, and then test it on a lower environment before you push it to production.
Awesome. All right. And then let's get into a question here from Denver. What trends would one watch for when modernizing their visual experience in SAP Commerce Cloud?
Maybe I can take this one. I mean, the visual experience is composed of many things. Like if you take a website, an SAP Commerce powered website, it can be a mobile app, can be the website itself. It's a combination of text, images, video, different elements that are structured and unstructured. So you typically have the product page and the product part, and then you have maybe more editorial content. I think in general, we have seen images and text for years on e-commerce websites and mobile applications. The trend we are seeing that's very, very heavy is video. And it's not only on e-commerce website and with Cloudinary. You see the rise of TikTok and other video-powered platform. Video is very, very engaging, and it's converting very heavily. So I would say video is one, and what is coming after that is 3D. So 3D is still in its infancy, I would say, but it is used already today to generate imagery and video, and basically to prevent customers from having to do costly photo shoots or video shooting, for example, because you can generate that from the 3D model.
Awesome. I have another question here. Let's see. What kind of media tools can be used to create visuals related to storytelling? That came in from May.
Maybe I can give a first part of the answer, and Oktay, if you want to add your take on that. I think storytelling is, we're talking mostly here about images and video, but usually it's a combination, right? When you want to tell a story on a digital, let's say, channel, you are combining text, you are combining, elements of design, and probably also images, video, and some other elements. So it's the ability to generate, in the case of images and video, to have relevant images and video to the story you want to tell, and usually also something which is much more down to earth is when you want to do storytelling. Usually you want a lot of images and video, and so you don't want to be limited. You want it to be really fast, really high quality. You want to be able to put as many images and video as you want on, let's say, maybe a content page or something like this. Oktay, I don't know your take on that.
Yeah, not much to add to that. I think, like you said in the presentation, in the webinar, media, having the right assets against your product and your content pages is essential now. So as a varied set of assets is key.
Awesome. All right, let's see. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to add, it's nothing new, but if you're building like on an e-commerce website an experience that you want it to be immersive but still be a commerce experience, usually a great thing to do is to try to mix product information and imagery and video with, let's say, editorial content. So building pages that are commerce and content essentially is usually super engaging, because then you have the story and then right away you have the product that is immersed in that piece of content. So that comes usually with more, let's say, content-driven experience mixed with commerce.
Awesome. All right, let's ask one final question here for Q&A. Can Cloudinary power other channels than e-commerce, such as email, social, or customer service?
Yeah, so I will take this one. I mentioned it earlier during the presentation, but here the main subject is to explain how Cloudinary can augment what SAP Commerce is already able to do with more imagery, better video. But of course, Cloudinary is an omni-channel solution, so we can power any channel. Think emails, marketing automation channels, social. You need to post to TikTok, to YouTube, etc. So Cloudinary can be this single source of truth that will also feed all of those channels and prevent you from having to have copies everywhere.
Awesome. All right. And Bridget, Oktay, and Greg, before we close out this webinar, is there any final thoughts you guys have and would like to give for our audience?
Well, I guess I'll speak on behalf of all three of us, if that's okay, just to say thank you. We enjoyed doing this. I imagine there'll be a recording. You'll probably touch on that, Michael. But again, as mentioned in the presentation, we're happy to take any additional questions. If you didn't post them in the Q&A pod and want to just follow up separately, always happy to talk with folks and answer more questions if they're out there. So thanks again.
Awesome. And thank you, Bridget. All right. So that's about all the time we have here today. I want to thank Oktay, Bridget, and Greg for being here, and the Cloudinary for sponsoring today's webinar. And last but not least, I would like to thank the audience for your time and attention. Today's webinar was recorded, and you'll be receiving a link to that recording in a follow-up email, so keep an eye on your inbox for that. In the meantime, thank you all once more, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.